Dokkan battle video. So with the global anniversary getting into full swing and, you know, the LR Super Saiyan 4s coming out and the LR Gods and all this stuff, I wanted to do one of these challenges I sort of do officially, right, where I use one team and I no item the entire red zone. I've done it with a bunch of the 200% leaders so far, and I feel like now is a good time to drop the LR Super Saiyan 4s one. Now, of course, with the LR Gods and the LR Super Saiyan 4s, these runs are, of course, I mean, much easier, you know, as you guys would imagine. I will say that, like, I actually probably thought it was easier to do many of the stages, actually, with Goku and Gohan's team and Cell's team. A lot of the stages were definitely easier with their teams. I would say, in particular, probably Broly. Both the Goku and Gohan team and Cell, their teams just have the necessary units to make Broly not as bad as could be. Although I definitely still did have a lot of trouble with it with the Cell team, and I did with LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's team as well. We'll go over why once we get to the Broly section. This first fight against Turles is free. Just pretty much bring any unit and we just dominate, right? Like, it's Turles is not really that tough. A bunch of these runs were recorded at various points throughout the last 6 months, too. I don't know if I used any super new characters, but several of these were recorded back on or around the anniversary. Although I believe the Broly run itself, we did get that one done. I think I did that only yesterday, right? So, okay, let's move on to Slug. Alright guys, now we are going ahead and fighting Lord Slug. Again, I mean, I guess it's just kind of this way on both the GT side and the movie villain side of things, where these first fights don't really have any meat to them on either side. I think the first and second fights for both sides of the red zone honestly go down pretty free. These bosses don't really have crazy gimmicks. Slug heals a little bit, but it's like, you know, if you're going to be utilizing, like, the, you know, easy LR Super Saiyan 4s or, you know, any characters like these active skill beam attacks, you could turn Lord Slug inside out very fast. Slug, I think, is just really not that bad of a fight, and I think many teams can easily beat this, so, you know, not much to say. I mean, again, Slug does heal sometimes, but he doesn't heal as much as LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta dishes out to his ass, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, so now we're moving on to the cooler fight. Now, I believe this is my first ever, I think this was my first no-item run that I did here in the cooler fight. Remember that cooler is pretty tough, actually. I think STR cooler is able to do really quite a bit of damage. And then physical cooler even more so. Physical cooler is actually one of the harder hitting bosses in the entire red zone, right? So you don't want to let cooler sneak up on you, especially with how easy Turles and Slug are. Cooler, he's not like, oh my god, so hard, but cooler is not easy either, right? And you're not really gonna, unless you have a special unit like Tech Ultimate Gohan in front of Cooler's Supernova or something like that, you're not going to be able to really eat Cooler's Supernova. So, you know, using maybe one of these Super Saiyan 4 Gogetas to counter it, or, you know, I don't know, maybe like a UI Goku type character to dodge it or something like that is probably a good idea. One other thing to point out with this team, the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta team, we actually do not have access to Tech God Goku on this team. Tech God Goku, of course, being basically the, like, prominent unit to use in many of these tough Red Zone movie fights, right? So we can't use Tech God Goku. So that certainly does hurt us against, you know, bosses like Cooler, Janemba, Broly in particular, right? These fights where God Goku is just, like, so crucial. We don't have access to him. But it's kind of like the LR Gods team has that God Goku, and then the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta team, instead we have the Super Vegito characters. So AGL Super Vegito, STR Super Vegito, and in LR Super Vegito, we could use them, you know, and in several of the runs we do use those characters. They certainly can be effective in the right situation. So I don't think there's really too much to talk about with Cooler. You know, he is very dangerous towards the end, but it's another boss that we pretty much just blow away with sheer force, sheer power. And then Cooler goes down, honestly, pretty easily, I think. In Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, of course, is a character. That's a character I think that's probably much better than a lot of people give him credit for, but I think like around these types of bosses, he certainly could still take a little bit of damage, right? Alright, so here's the Cooler fight. We'll go ahead and move on to the next fight. Alright, so now we are doing Android 13. Again, I believe this is my first ever no item run on Android 13 using the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta team. This fight is just free, right? Starting with the third fight in both sides, the difficulty, I think, certainly does sort of go up, right? Like things definitely get a bit trickier. Except for this Android 13 fight. Of, you know, the both sides, the Android 13 fight is just really so free, because of the fact that, you know, 13 in both, you know, his base form and his Fusion Android 13 form, both of those, he's AGL, so it's just really not that bad. Just sort of like stomping him out with a lot of tech characters, right? In particular, LR Tech Gogeta is a character who can be suspect a lot of times. They take a lot of damage before they transform. They take a lot of damage after they transform. They're not the greatest offensive unit of all time, although they could do some decent damage, right, for sure. But the LR Tech Gogeta unit, right, just gets exposed a lot of the times in the red zone. But if you can successfully get to turn 4, if you could transform with them, you could turn into Gogeta, you get the Scouter for the next 5 turns, it is a huge asset. And in a fight against Android 13, where it's both phases of AGL, it is very, very nice, you know, to be able to easily use Tech Gogeta, right? Because it's just a lot easier to sort of hang on against AGL enemies and utilize him. So, all right, again, not really too much to talk about here. Android 13's gimmick, remember, is that he cancels dodging. You cannot dodge him. So, in truth, in Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is not really a good pick for this. I believe this run was actually recorded before Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta got a ZZA. Actually, as a matter of fact, this is recorded before Tech God Goku got a ZZA also. Although, again, he's not on the team anyway to run. But that's the reason I'm using Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and not Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, is that this was recorded before Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta got that EZA and became, you know, a bit better than the Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. They put up a similar level of performance, but I definitely think the Tech one is better, right? So, alright, there is Android 13. Again, pretty easy getting through these last couple phases. Let's move on to the next fight. guys, now we have the Bojack fight. I believe this was my first ever no-item run on Bojack. Now, remember, Bojack is a very, very tough fight, right? You know, since I've done this original run, I, of course, have done many, many runs, right, on this Bojack fight. I've been destroyed with many top-tier teams, right? The Goku and Gohan team, the Resurrection F Blues team. Many teams I've utilized have just been absolutely disintegrated by this Bojack fight. Because it starts out really rather tough, where you have the 4 Bojack minions who, their normal attacks don't do too much damage, but their super attacks, they're doing like 500k plus, I believe, with these attacks, right? So it's like they could do a lot of damage. Now, one thing that, you know, they're able to poke a hole with in, say, the Goku and Gohan team or the Resurrection F Blues team as well, is that they're able to actually damage God Goku since there isn't a pure Saiyan or a movie boss's character on the field, right? This is before Bojack shows up, so there's no movie boss around for that God Goku to get all of the extra damage reduction. So it just makes this fight very tough. In Bojack, just, I mean, not much to say about him besides he just hits very hard. And then finally, after in Bojack, then we have to talk about Tech Bojack, who is really, I mean, I would say, like, if I had to rank the annoyance and difficulty of phases, I feel like you have to say STR AoE Broly is, like, 1, the most difficult phase in the game, probably. AGL Broly is probably number 2, and then I would probably say Tech Bojack is number 3. Because, like, Omega is very tough, like, in Omega Shenron at the end is very hard. He hits just so, like, it's just tough to tank him. But the thing about that is that he always super attacks in the same spot, right? So you're well aware of that. Whereas, like, Tech Bojack guaranteed locks you, guaranteed seals you, and then he, you know, he could super attack in any of the 3 spots. He could just do massive damage. Oh, dude, the 7th anniversary, like, screen, it looks so good. Oh, man, I miss it. That's one thing that is a bummer, right? Because, yeah, again, this is, I think my first ever no-item run against Bojack. The remixes they did, I wish they would have left that permanently. That would be so good, right? Like, that 7th anniversary OST was just, like, so awesome. Kind of a bummer that that's not something that they kept, you know, the entire time. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. So, I think that's pretty much it, right? We pretty much just, I believe, crush Bojack with a lot of these ridiculously overpowered characters, right? Because it's like, with this team, you don't really have to rely on strategy so much with how powerful these characters are, right? And then we have Tech, Kale, and Khalifa. We've used Tech, Kale, and Khalifa in several of the runs. People will go on and on about how bad that character is, and I'm on board with the hate train of them, like, the first turn for sure. Maybe the second turn a lot of times. They can be pretty unimpressive. But, like, once they've started to get a lot of stacks in, they can handle their own. But that turn 6 active skill of theirs, the massive heal, in which you always know you're going to get it, right? Because, like, STR Vegito, you have to be below an HP threshold. Tech Gogeta, you got to be above an HP threshold. Int Vegito and Physical Gogeta, you got to be below an HP threshold. You know, these characters that transform and heal. AGL Ginyu, you have to be below an HP threshold in order for him to transform and heal, right? All these characters are sort of designed that way. But for Kale and Khalifa, it's just, you get to turn 6 and you got the heal, right? You don't have to worry about any other conditions besides, oh, turn 6, we can pop it, boom, we heal. So that's what can make them very, very effective. And as you guys can see, you know, there's many different runs here where we've utilized, the LR Tech Gogeta, right? It's like, even though that character can get exposed very easily, the Scouter is just so strong. The Scouter is just so powerful. So that's it. Let's go ahead. I think, by the way, that this run right here was probably recorded before the LR Super Saiyan 4s got their easy A's. Otherwise, I might have thought about maybe bringing LR Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta to this run. You know, give a nice pairing partner to LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. You could definitely no-item this with LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but that would not be a fun risk to have to take, right? because Bojack could easily just lock and seal Super Saiyan 4 Goku in slot 1 and you die, basically, right? You wouldn't really have a chance unless you're gonna 3 dodge, or Goku's gonna do his 30% chance to super attack counter or something like that, right? So, all right, there is the Bojack fight. Let's go ahead and move on to the next fight. guys, now we are moving on to the Janemba fight. Now Janemba doesn't really have any crazy gimmicks besides he's just strong. Like, that's it. Like, Janemba is just a powerful boss. But we're using, like, if we're just, like, saying, like, oh, like, powerful characters or something like that, we're essentially using, like, you know, the strongest team in the game. Like, pretty much a full, like, LR fusion setup. You know, look at our health. Like, we're, you know, closing in on 800,000 HP. So it's just, like, we have so much raw damage output, and then healing as well, right? Because, you know, we have both physical anniversary, you know, 3rd year Gogeta, and we have the 3rd year in Vegito. So we have multiple different heals we'll be able to do deep into the fight, which is good. And we have LR Tech Gogeta as well. And then look at me bringing AGL Super Vegito. Now, AGL Super Vegito can be very effective in some of these red zone fights. His damage reduction from normals, he's able to take double digits in many phases in the red zone. Now, you know, when we're talking about, say, like, in Omega Shenron, I believe that's about 30k per normal to AGL Vegito, I believe. Although AGL Super Vegito is still a great option for that fight, because he takes double digits in the first phase, and then the second phase is STR. So in the second phase, AGL Super Vegito can actually eat a super attack for you if need be, right? I believe he'd take like 450k or something like that. But Super Vegito can be very good, provided you don't just get caught with a super attack on him. But that's where, like, running this full fusion lineup can do wonders, because we could bring Tech Gogeta to get the Scouter, or SCR Vegito and get the Scouter, right? Either will work. We have the 3rd year anniversary fusions, where if it's deep in the fight and we're below 50% HP, right, we could be good there. So we should be able to get a really good sort of effect out of AGL Super Vegito. The rest of the team, I would say, is fairly obvious, right? A lot of the same sort of cast of characters that we've been utilizing, basically sort of like in all of these runs, right, so far. You know, you do have a nice fusion lineup that you can utilize, but the top tiers on the team are just, like, very well established and very obvious why you want to bring them. And of course, because all these challenges, like, we are doing all these runs no item, right? Like, we do have to make sure to sort of give ourselves a good chance, which is why, you know, I love using, you know, the 3rd year fusions or Tech Kefla or, you know, Tech Gogeta. Like, the Scouters and the heals and stuff like that can just be very, very effective. But Janemba, again, doesn't really have a gimmick besides just being tough. Like, that, he's just really strong, Janemba, basically. I mean, he could be a little prick sometimes, and he can change the orbs, which I guess can be a huge pain in the ass, but, for the most part, Janemba, I feel like he's really not that bad. Like, especially if we're using a lot of the 7th anniversary LRs and stuff like that with these powerful active skills, we potentially could just blitz Janemba right off the field, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind as well. Alright, so finally we reach the big one. This, of course, is Broly. Now, Broly is very tough for the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta team to sort of, you know, get like a super safe no-item run-in. Only because Broly directly counters what makes LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta so special, right? So well, at least one of the factors. LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta has the super attack counter, right? You have a 50% chance to counter super attacks, which would be very effective against AoE Broly and AGL Broly, right? Because AoE Broly is an AoE, and then AGL Broly can super attack twice per turn. But the thing is that we're not really able to take advantage of that because you cannot dodge Broly, right? Which is what makes Broly the hardest fight in the game by far, the fact that you cannot dodge him at any point during this fight. This fight was very tough, but we were able to make it through because we are able to get through AoE Broly before he can kill us, basically. We're using LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. He is actually, like, I feel like LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku is easily one of the best characters in the game for this fight because of the way he just demons on AoE Broly, right? You guys will see LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku by himself a lot of the times can take off either half of AoE Broly's health or even more. He hits so hard, especially when you combine it with the active skill, right? You pop his active skill on turn 4, and then his super attack, and he just does so much damage that Broly can be disintegrated in record time. So it's like, you could easily, with this team, right, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is super effective against all types, so we don't have to worry about the fact that he's type disadvantage against AoE Broly, and we could potentially blitz him. It's just, you need to do runs until Broly doesn't super slot 1, you know, immediately on the AoE phase, right? Like, that's the main thing. I believe in this no-item attempt right here, Broly actually does not super attack his whole first turn as in his AoE phase. And then I'm able to just absolutely blitz AGL Broly with the barrage of active skill super attacks, right? The LR Gods, Gogeta Blue active skill, and then of course we're also able to use both Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta active skills, and we're able to just melt AGL Broly in like just absolutely unbelievable record time, right? AGL Broly, again, is certainly a very, very tough fight, no doubt about that. But, I mean, the LR, the Super Saiyan 4s and Gods and stuff, they're just a little bit different. I brought in Vegito, you know, for obvious reasons, right? But I actually don't transform with Int Vegito in this fight, but even still, in Vegito, they do make themselves worth it by eating this super attack right here, right? This, you know, we could not have gotten the no-item run. You know, them double supering is beautiful, so they have extra defense, and then they're able to eat this super attack from this Broly as well. Remember, this Broly hits very hard, right? So only 144k right there. I could easily take that no problem, right? And it's like, you know, in Vegito, even though we don't fuse and heal with them, they were still able to do that, which was just very, very helpful. And then remember, because of Tech Gogeta, we do have the Scouter, I believe, until, what is it, turn 9 is when the Scouter runs out. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the turns where we have the Scouter up. So, you know, we'll go through AoE Broly, like, you know, the turn will start, and we can instantly know if we've lost or not, for example, right? Like, this fight is exactly why I argue that dodge is the best mechanic in the game. Because, you know, we could go into this next phase, and we could see, oh, Broly's super attacking in slot 1. There's literally no counterplay. It does nothing for us. But if we could dodge the AoE, we could actually survive, right? But because Broly locks off dodging, he locks off what is the strongest ability that we have, and that's what makes Broly so hard, right? It's very obvious logic. Let's just get to this next phase, and then I'll let things finish up. At the end, again, the final turn where we finish Broly off is just a devastating display by LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. I believe I get a triple super from this LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta right here, which allows us to win. So there's Goku, just casually drops 6 million damage down right there. Yeah, so the friend LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, if I'm not mistaken, did they not super attack once in the double Super Saiyan 4s? I gotta pay attention to that, but they either only supered like once or they didn't super at all or something like that. Like they barely got in, we got almost no stacks in, right? And then, you know, I have to transform into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, if we're going to do enough damage to this guy to finish him off, and then also tank enough. Look at Super Saiyan 4 Goku, dude, 10 million. 10 million. So he just does, like, what, like, he did 13 million damage so far, and then another additional. So it's like this guy did nearly 20 million damage on this turn, LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And that's exactly how we are able to get the no item run down, right? Because LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku literally just put the team on his back and we're able to disintegrate AoE Broly in seconds. That's it right there, dude. LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku is such a behemoth. Then we get to this turn, and it's like Tech Gogeta is able to clutch things up for us big time, right? Because of the fact that we know exactly where Broly's super attacks are, we could play around it. I could transform into Kefla, we can get our heal, and then I could sort of just figure out how exactly I want to do this, right? Now, keep in mind that any of these three characters will take a lot of damage from Broly's super attack right there. Not much we can do, but we can tank a lot of these hits because of the fact that, we have a full tech rotation right here. You guys will see on the next turn we do finish Broly off with, the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta active skills, and he gets the triple super, and we're able to clutch it out. So let me know what you guys think of LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's team no iteming the entire movie Red Zone. Thanks guys for watching, and I will catch y'all next time.